Soundbox presents Lego Transformers. Whoa! Blot. Yeah. Sideswipe. Hello, Lego Transformers fans. This is Soundbox with another exciting episode of Lego Transformers. Here we have Sideswipe. Now, I went off of Sideswipe's basic idea from Generation 1. So this is a very Generation 1 Sideswipe. Sideswipe has had many different designs through the years, but this has always been my favorite version of him. Now, he is supposed to be the Countach Lamborghini, so I try to capture some of that detail with him. I had this interesting little car piece that was only 4 studs wide, so I really wanted to use it. It's 2 studs here, and then these are about a stud wide, these fenders. So I wanted to use that piece on him. Also, he's got the rear spoilers that kind of gives him that rear spoiler look. And he's got the grills on the back. I really love the way this car turned out. Let me give you a 360 on him. He looks really good. He's very transformative, very articulated, and he's just all around an awesome looking figure. Now, if you had caught my short, I did have an early version of him out there on my Quintessence short video, but that early version had to be redesigned, and I'm so glad I did. I also want to refer back to my my purchasing Lego video. Here's a quick image of the package. That package for that little race car was great. It comes with some awesome pieces. One of them is a curved 3-stud piece, which made this Transformer possible. I'll talk about that a little later in robot mode. Okay, let's take a look at some comparisons. But first I'll say that my first cool red car was Dead End. So now we have Sideswipe, who is way cooler. But let's compare him to one of the Stunticons, the other Lamborghini Countach, which is Breakdown. Breakdown is about 4 studs wide, and Sideswipe's about 4 studs wide. He goes a little over with the tires. That's pushing 7 to 8 studs right there. Lengthwise, Breakdown is quite a bit shorter than Sideswipe. And of course, Breakdown doesn't have moving wheels. For Sideswipe, he also doesn't have moving wheels. I gave him these wheels that would move, but these wheels are a Creo piece, and for the transformation and for the way that these work, I like them better in there. They look better, completing the look of the car. Okay, now let's compare him to some other familiar faces. We have Bumblebee. And Bumblebee is very short and stubby, but you can see Bumblebee is also a little bit taller. So you could tell this is a sports car design because he's very flat, very low, but very long. We'll just put Bumblebee on this side, get an idea. Bumblebee's cooler counterpart, Cliffjumper, who also shares the red and black color scheme. And we'll bring in Optimus Prime. Of course, Optimus Prime is a truck. He's definitely bigger. He looks very truck-like compared to Sideswipe. And the only other difference is that Sideswipe is a little bit longer than Optimus Prime. You'll be able to see from this angle. Sideswipe, if you line up so where they start, he's a little bit longer from each part. But that gives him that sleeker car look. And the bigger I make Optimus as a cab, the bigger he becomes as a robot. We already have to zoom out when we show him in robot mode. So now let's look at the star of this show, Sideswipe. To get a nice looking windshield here, I ended up using black curved pieces. And I used these darker red slopes to give it more of a sleek, fast looking feel. Like this part would be indented in the car a little bit. So I wanted to differentiate it from the fenders. Got their Autobot symbol. The roof is very similar too. I have that darker color there and then regular reds here. The mix of the dark red and the light red I think go very well for his color breakup. And the blacks and reds seem to be in the right spots. If I could make the doors a little more red, I would have. But I like the way it overall turned out. And then we have the windshield from the side. And we have the rear spoiler. We have these nice grills in the back. This red stripe in the back. And these flat curved pieces that give it kind of a sleek feel so it didn't look very blocky. Otherwise it would be very blocky. I also have this neat little slope piece I wanted to use. The square kind of slope piece came in the Dragon set. I wanted to use it so badly, so I used it on him, and it worked out wonderfully. So that's car mode. Next, we'll transform. Now we're going to transform Sideswipe. In order to transform Sideswipe, first we're going to take his legs, and they're going to rotate outward. Now what I did is you could see there's a pin in one of these Technic loop pieces, and then there's a Technic 3-piece curve with a pin in it. This allows the leg to move. It also gives it additional articulation. We'll do that to the other side as well. Flip the leg out. This double flipping effect makes the legs longer, but not absurdly longer, which is nice. Now comes the harder part, is we're going to bend his body downward. So first we're going to take his arms, and you could see his arms are kind of tabbed in on these studs. From the bottom it's a little easier to see. They're not really tabbed in, but they're close enough where they could tab in a little. So we're just going to pull them outward. And here's that 3-piece I was talking about with the curved edges. This piece is going to work wonders for this next hinge transformation I'm going to show you. So the next transformation, we start to pull it. You pull the car forward, from the hood forward. You can see these pieces are kind of crunching in here. I'm going to zoom out just a hair, because he is getting taller as I transform him. We're going to rotate these arms downward too to kind of get them out of the way. Oh, we accidentally made a car gear walk mode. Look at that. Oof. Okay. So here's the pieces I'm talking about. I have this 2 are curved and this 3 are curved. And then I have this circular piece with a little stem. And that's holding it together as an awesome triple hinge. So we have a bar for this hinge, and that little circular piece with a little downward stem for that hinge. And between these curved pieces these curve pieces and these little curves in here on these pieces, we're going to rotate this whole thing. So before we start rotating the front down, we're actually going to take the wheels off. Oh no, parts forming. Yeah, I hate parts forming. However, it could not be avoided with this guy. Well, unlike the original G1 figure, you don't have to add hands to it afterwards. It's already got built-in hands. So we fold down the hood, and then we fold up the head. Now, he looks a little weird, so what we want to do is we want to kind of fold this joint up and kind of fold it at the black part here. Sometimes it comes a little loose doing that. It looks like it worked out pretty well. And so now, that's a little loose. Let me just tighten it up here. To tighten it, I just squeeze and push the joint pieces back into place. So you can see these little rotating hinges and this hinge rotated, and then the three part, this circular part, this rotated, creating this folding over effect, which I think is perfect for this character. Now we'll rotate his hands around and down. Now the only bad thing about the way he transforms in this way is that his anti-studs are on the outside of his arm. There was nothing I could do about that because I wanted the car to have the good stud side, so the anti-studs had to be outside. Now, what about these wheels? Well, the actual Transformer, the wheels are on his shoulders. So on the back of each arm, I have a folded piece that I can just stick the wheel to. Now the wheel is on his arm, just like the figure. So while I will admit that was a little bit of parts forming, I don't think it significantly harms the figure. And here we have him in his basic robot mode. However, I did make two add-ons. I gave him this little gun, which I'll put in his hand later, and I gave him his missile launcher. And so how I made this is I have a cone, a one stud with a hole in it, a little gun piece, and another curved two stud piece. These curved two stud pieces, and now with the addition of the three curved stud piece, they're the best pieces you can find to help make Lego Transformers if you're interested in building them yourself. Now, if I look real closely, that one stud is open right there. So I can take the anti-stud part on this and place it right in there. Now it's attached, and then I can just rotate the missile down. And now, Sideswipe is in his classic look. You'll also note that his hands aren't the standard hand pieces. I actually used these circular curved two-piece things I've been saying are great for transformations because they're wonderful with articulation, and they have holes. They are a little loose though, so stud friction wise they may not be the best. So here we have Sideswipe in robot mode. Now for a robot mode size comparison. Here we have Sideswipe in robot mode next to a minifigure. And he looks like a real Transformer with a real Transformer height near this minifigure. I'm sure he's still not totally in scale. Sideswipe would be much bigger. But he is a taller Autobot. Let's compare him to Bumblebee, Generation 1 Bumblebee. They're about good height to each other. Bumblebee was always kind of squattier and smaller, and Sideswipe was one of the taller Autobot robot cars. And now, let's compare Sideswipe to Optimus Prime. Here we have Sideswipe is about shoulder high to Optimus Prime, which is pretty good. That also is pretty accurate on how they looked in the show as far as size goes. Now let's look at Sideswipe's accessory. because he's so cool, and I decided to do something different with his hands, instead of using hand pieces, I used these rounded 2-stud pieces with holes in the studs. I take his gun that I made, which is just a little Lego gun piece with a little black nozzle, and you can slide it right in the hole on that piece. Oop, his hand fell off. Stud friction. There we go. And now he has a cannon to hold. I also love the color breakdown on Sideswipe. If you look at him, he's got his face, which is just a gray plate here. His head, he's got a black folded over piece and a black kind of plate for his head. It's round and angular at the same time, kind of like his face. You have another Lego gun attachment here, which was his missile, which is white with a little red end there. The reds and the blacks make a great breakup of his arms, because his forearms were more red, his hands were black, and his shoulders were black. And putting the wheels on the back of his arms here in these folded over pieces, that was a cool idea, and that's what he looked like figure wise too. His hood becomes his chest, just like the figure. You have an Autobot symbol, got a little bit maroonish, give it more of a long look, and I got this neat little car piece here that I really want to make use of. The grays and the black break up his legs, and then of course the red and the black and the legs, the black grills and the red. And because of the way he transforms using these Technic pieces and these pins, you actually get a little more articulation out of him than you would others. So he actually has a lot of articulation. But I had to do that to make this figure. One of the pieces that I really had to have to bring up is this piece right here. This piece is like the king piece to making him. What it is it's a 3-stud piece that's curved on the ends. Much like these 2 studs that are curved, only 3-stud. And much like them, they have the holes through the studs. Without that piece, I don't think I could have made this figure look this good. Because if you saw my earlier prototype in my Quintessence short video, the earlier prototype looked nothing like this guy. And this guy looks awesome. So here we have Lego Transformers Generation 1 Sideswipe. If you love Lego Transformers, give me a subscribe. And if you have any friends that like Lego Transformers or like Legos or Transformers, send them my way. Okay, see you next time.